Hey everybody, my name is Matthew Krieger with MEG Business Management. I've got Todd Sparks here today. Todd has been a great client of ours for a few years now. He came to us as a startup, and we just want to do this quick interview testimonial with him just to ask him a couple questions, and hopefully you guys get a lot of information out about Todd and where he was at when he first started, and you can see if you could put yourself into his shoes when you start thinking about working with MEG and some of our services. So let's get started. So thanks, Todd, for hopping on this call with me, and I appreciate it a lot.
Thank you.
Awesome. So we'll get right into it. First question, Todd, tell me a little bit about you and your practice as it is right now, currently.
Great. So we just hit our 2-year mark, 24 months. We opened in May of 2017, and we started with just me and a front office coordinator and a couple tables and a couple pieces of equipment. I think I had about 4 patients the first week. And again, we just hit our 2-year anniversary, and we're seeing right around 180 to 200 weekly patient visits, about 20 to 22 new patients per week. 3 full-time physical therapists, a front office coordinator / manager, several aides, or we call them exercise specialists. And we are just about to potentially launch our second location here in September.
That's awesome, man. Congrats on all that. Yeah, I remember when you first came on board, I was, we're getting the website up and running, getting that whole process done. And Brian was working with you guys. It's great to see where you guys are at now. And I was like really excited when they said, Matt, do you want to do Todd's interview? I was like, yes, exactly. I do. So the next question, tell us a little bit about, what was your mindset when you first decided to open a practice? You're probably looking for help, say, okay, who can help me? I have a lot of questions I need answered. Is there anybody out there that can help answer those questions? Obviously, you worked in a clinic currently, you had a lot of colleagues. I think you said your family had a lot of experience in the PT industry. So where did you start? Did you seek outside help online, and how did you find MEG?
Yeah, so I was lucky. I was kind of an oddity. I had about 13, 14 years of experience prior to deciding to open my own practice. I had a lot of great resources and friends that owned clinics, and my mom was a physical therapist for 42 years. So tons and tons of resources, but someone had connected me with Brian, a chiropractic friend of mine actually had connected me with Brian and MEG. And the minute I got on the phone with him, his energy was amazing. And most importantly, I just instantly trusted him. There's all kinds of people selling all kinds of programs out there. And it's just hard to differentiate what's good, what's not. But what I loved about Brian is that he had actually done it. He was the practice of the year. He was a practicing physical therapist that had, was practicing the top 10% of all physical therapists. So he had his techniques and his ideas and his thoughts and his theories were tried and true. Which was really important to me, but most important of all, his ethics and his morals and his values were just completely on point with mine. As you know, he's very highly involved in the APTA, and that stuck out to me as someone that I could trust and someone that was going to do things right and legally and morally and ethically. So the combination of just his energy and his knowledge and the fact that he has done this himself, and then in combination with his values and his morals and his ethics, just was a no-brainer to go with Brian and to go with MEG. And since then, we use them for our billing. We use them for consulting. Originally, before MEG Academy, Brian would actually fly into the clinics. So we flew him here for 3 days to orient us. And even after all that, I've then now become a member of the MEG Academy, which is even better than having him fly into the clinic.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think, talking about Brian and his experience, when practice owners first talk to him, or when they first talk to us or some of the other MEG employees, we go, you have to get on the phone with Brian, because I tell you, those 10 minutes here, you're going to really find out who this guy is. He's going to show you the experience he has. And the minute you talk to him, you're going to be like, this guy knows what he's talking about. And like he says, we don't do anything unless it's by the book. We're really big on the APTA. We're really big on everybody signing up, especially practice owners, for the PPS, the private practice section, because there's just so much value we get for those. So we like to be associated with those organizations and those groups, because they're the level you need to be at. So being associated with them is really great. We want to thank those guys over there for all the hard work they do, putting on those conferences. It's amazing. So that's great. So let's get into the third question. And it's kind of like plays in the last one, but what was it about MEG that helped you make up your mind regarding wanting them as your practice coach? Now, I know you talked about Brian, his morals, his experience, but what was like, is there any specific example or experience, maybe a phone call you had with him that really just said, this is the person I want to work with?
Yeah, for sure, everything I already mentioned about Brian, but then to even take it a step further, Brian connected me with you to do my website, and you were phenomenal in helping me get that website.
Thank you.
And then he had connected me with Jen and Allie and Alicia and some of the girls over in the billing department. And my experience with them for the first phone call was absolutely amazing as well. So just everyone he connected me with, everyone he had me talk to just was awesome. So even as far as like the people from I'm not sure if I'm supposed to say this, but from PT United, the equipment guys over there, he connected me with those guys. I mean, every resource I needed, he connected me with. And he helped me with everything. I might be jumping ahead of here a little bit, but he helped me with everything from kind of, preparing a statement to get my first loan from the bank, to finding the correct amount of space. Funny story is that he had told me, you need this much square footage. And I go, no, Brian, that's too much. That's too much. He goes, I'm telling you, you're going to outgrow your space. And here we are. I have 1,200 square feet in 24 months. I've completely outgrown it.
You double that.
Everything he always says. So just his knowledge, he literally knows the ins and outs of every single thing you can imagine. He's always available by phone. Every time I reached out to him, he was available, or he got back to me very, very promptly. Just the entire team is great. And people sometimes ask me about billing or other avenues that MEG runs, website, different things. And I always say, if Brian's running it, then you can trust it. I just trust him 100%.
Yeah. And just to go kind of like play on that and go off track a little bit is, MEG was started initially as Brian, he saw the need for practice owners out there, needed the training that he had in his mind, and he wanted to provide that training. The billing services and MEG Academy and the credentialing services and the management services, they just came. It wasn't like, okay, we're going to start this and market it. It was, we went to these clinics, we found out they need this help. They don't know how to build a website. They don't know how to do the billing. Or they know how to do the billing, but they shouldn't be doing the billing because it's something that could easily be outsourced. It can grow quickly and they don't have to worry about it. And so we actually created all of our services out of a necessity, something because Brian would fly into these offices, find out, oh, they need these services. And he says, you know what, I'm going to find that person, put them on my team at MEG to help this client, because that's all we want to do is just help the practice owners find the resources they need, and we can point them in the right direction. There's just so many avenues. You do a Google search for a service. It's so many options out there. So we just want to say, hey, we've seen all the options. Here's our option, and we want to make it affordable for you because we know where you are, especially for you as a startup financially, like what it takes to start the practice. You're not going to go out and pay for a $25,000 website. It's just not practical. So we price it so it's like, this is a new startup. This is how much we're going to charge. We're not looking to make a lot of money on this. We just want to see that you're successful. So even if we're breaking even, your success is our success in a sense. So
yeah. When I first started with you guys, you didn't, at least to my knowledge, you didn't offer a credentialing service.
Nope.
Now offer. So I just hired my third PT. We actually used you guys for credentialing, and it was like an absolute no-brainer. The time it takes to credential is crazy, and to have you guys just do it for a very, very, very small amount of money. It's just a no-brainer.
Just take it off your hand. You need to focus on treating your patients and building your community and building your reputation in the community. That's, the patients are, at the end of the day, all this stuff we do, the billing, the managing, doing this interview, putting the time in to do this interview. At the end of the day, the end result is being able to help the patients, get better and, be successful. So, that's what's driving me, driving Brian, driving you, driving all of us is thinking about those patients. So,
yeah, Brian always says, do what you do best and pass the rest off.
Exactly. I love the quotes. I love them. So let's jump into the training now, the MEG training. You said Brian flew out to your clinic. That was the, old way. Brian used to do the practice eval, then you did marketing and all this different training. He would fly into the clinic. Now everything's digital with MEG Academy, which is amazing because it's 24/7. But what was most helpful to you during your training that set MEG apart from other groups?
Yeah, you're right. When he came out here, that was awesome, and it was wonderful to have him here and work directly one-on-one with him. But the Academy's awesome. Like you said, the ability to just pull something up. I mean, for example, I have a phone interview with a therapist for my new office today at 1:30, and this morning before I got on with you, I was watching the video on the phone interview. So literally, I just pull it up, I refresh it, I made 4 or 5 notes on the phone interview, and I'm ready to go today at 1:30.
That sells MEG Academy right there.
Yeah,
I mean, guys, but you don't have to call anybody. You don't have to get Brian on the phone. Hey, I need a refresher. You just go online, find that video, rewatch it, take some notes, and then it's beautiful. Go. Sorry to interject. I just said that's why we built the system. It's so awesome.
And it's obvious. It's awesome, obviously, for the practice owner, but it's set up in a way that every one of your employees can have a login and have access to it, and you can hold them accountable. There's quizzes. There's a tracking system, so you can see if you assign videos to your front office on anything, collections or collecting deductibles. They can watch the videos, take the quiz, and you can kind of see where they are with things. Every time we have a scenario occur, situation with a deductible or copay, I can just have Vivian, our front office, jump on to MEG Academy and watch the video on that. Almost every scenario that they discuss has a role play video with it. So just copy the role play video or tweak it how you would like, and you're good to go. So it's just phenomenal to have it at your fingertips at any time. And when you run into an issue, rather than me necessarily take the time to speak with one of my staff, of course I always do, but I can follow that up with having them watch the particular video or section in MEG Academy.
Yeah, because I think that was huge. I think before we used to, Brian used to fly out to clinics, and then we did this about half a year to a year where we actually did one-on-one training on Zoom. I don't know if you did the Zoom training for some of your training.
Yeah, I did do just some Zoom calls, but the problem when he came out, as you guys know, and that's just probably why you developed MEG Academy, is you only can kind of absorb a very small portion of 3 days of him being out here. And you take bits and pieces of it, but you probably forget 70 or 80% of it.
Exactly.
So with MEG Academy, it's all just right there to go back.
Right. I think when our system is on a system called Lightspeed Virtual Training. That's the actual platform we use to build our system. And we went to their conference and they said, people don't go to the conference to learn. They just go there really to get exposed to information. It's impossible to take all that information, get it in your brain, and then actually go, implement it in your office. You only can keep about 30% of that. So being able to go for you have an interview coming up, be able to go to that video, sit down in the morning before everybody gets in, while it's quiet, and take some notes to prepare yourself. So you don't have to do anything. You don't have to call anyone. You just access that system. That's great. I'm really happy to hear that story. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
So we're just going to jump this also, some of these questions are very similar, but what were some of the positive changes you've experienced as a result of your training with MEG?
Just rapid growth. We again went from 8 patients in week 1 to 180 to 200 at 24 months. Some clinics, never see those numbers, quite frankly. Oh. So we're there at 24 months. We're already ready to launch our second office. We had I'm still learning some of the business terminology as I'm new to business, but we had like a 33% net profit margin in our first full year,
that's great.
So just a lot of good things. And most importantly, we've avoided a lot of mistakes that we probably would have made without proper training. And everybody makes mistakes when they're new in business or opening up a new business. But if you can avoid some of those mistakes, it's going to prevent you a lot of headache and a lot of loss of sleep and things like that. And due to MEG and Brian and all you guys over there, we've been able to avoid quite a few mistakes that probably others make initially. Been awesome.
That's awesome. Yeah. PTs, my wife's a physical therapist, and I came in towards the end of her schooling, and I asked her, how many business classes do you take as a PT? And she took one class. One semester, she took one class. That was all that was required. So, these physical therapists, they're coming out of school, and they have a lot of, goals and dreams. They're going to practice for a couple of years, and they go, I can do this. I can go into business. But then they go, how to apply for a loan, how big does my space need to be? They don't think about all that stuff. So Brian's been in business for so long. He's created this training. This has all been thought out. And that's why these 14 programs in MEG Academy are just specific. Like, you have a question, it's like the old adage, if you have a question, just Google it, and somebody else has had that question. That's what MEG Academy is becoming for PT practice owners when it relates to business. If you have a question, most likely there's a video about it in MEG Academy. So
yeah, one big thing I forgot to mention is that Brian talks a lot about working on your business rather than in your business. And I don't think I would have been able to launch a second office and maybe someday a third if I hadn't joined MEG and linked up with Brian, because I think I would just be so entrenched in the business and just unable to let go. And, as I think Brian also says, or someone he works with says, that, if you have to be there and the clinic requires you to be there, then that's just a job. That's you're not really a business owner. That's a job if you have to be there. So I'm just kind of learning to let go and learning to kind of be able to set the clinic up with systems that Brian has taught me so that it runs smoothly on its own without me being here. And that's the only way to go ahead and launch a second office. I don't think I would have been able to do that without MEG.
Yeah, exactly. It's all about having that vision and trying to chase that vision instead of being able to see that vision, but you kind of feel stuck. That we want to make sure, you and all our clients, we want to help you guys reach your vision. That's our ultimate goal, is to see you succeed, because we know it's possible out there. So, Todd, I think that's great. You threw out some awesome statistics at us with patient visits. Everybody, Todd, just let them know where you're at exactly, real quick, so they know if they're thinking about opening a practice, maybe, hopefully not down the street from you, but just let them know where you're at.
Southern California, we're in the San Diego area. It's a suburb called East Lake, Chula Vista, here in Southern California. And
how many, do you know, maybe just off the top of your head, like with 2 or 3 miles, how many other physical therapy practices like yourself are around the area?
Yeah, there's about 6 other clinics within 3 or 4 miles of me.
Okay.
I think, we've been a success because we're doing things very differently than others.
Great. Yeah. And I love your office. When you guys first show, we were playing with camera angles at the beginning of this, and he went to the smaller office for audio. So if it sounds a little boomy, it's because we really wanted to show you guys some of his clinic there. It's a great setup. He has an awesome sign out front. We helped design his logo and his website as well. So I was pretty proud to see his little logo outside. It was awesome. But yeah, so I'll just wrap it up here. Like, Todd, for the startup person that's watching this video, for the owner who's maybe been in business for a year and just needs some more information, starting or getting their practice energized and up and running to speed, what would you like them to take away from this video, this interview? What words of wisdom can you give them? Yeah,
just that MEG has so much to offer in so many ways. And the biggest barrier for me was cost. Not that it's expensive, it's just cost and not wanting to spend money. And man, looking back, it's just the most well-spent money I could ever imagine. It's just crazy to think that it was a barrier at one time, because it was just so worth it. So I would just say that the people over at MEG are just phenomenal, and it really will take you to the next level, or just get you moving in the right track if you're stuck or if you are a startup. It's just amazing stuff.
Awesome, Todd. Hey, I really appreciate you. Todd's out there in California. We're over here on the East Coast. He got up real early, 6 a.m. to come do this interview. So I appreciate you so much for doing that. And for everybody watching this video, if you guys have any questions, definitely check out some of the other testimonials on this page or on the testimonial page, wherever you're watching this video. And if you have any questions, don't feel free to reach out to us. We have a contact page, tons of information there, how to get a hold of us and to get on Brian's schedule to schedule a free practice assessment call. So thank you for your time, Todd. Thank you for your time, everybody watching, and hope everybody has a great day. So thank you, Todd.
Thanks.